My God. Uh, eh,
Oh, good
oh my God,
Lord.
help me. Okay, well, there is good news in Chicago today, ladies and gentlemen, because the worst offensive coordinator outside of Freddie Kitchens and Hugh Jackson, maybe in the history of football, Shane Waldron, has been fired. Matt Eberflus needs to go too, but that's not the here nor there. Hey, Aaron, um, do you realize that your Jets, after you fired Robert Sala, who was by far the best defensive coach on your staff, clearly, and after you acquired Devontae Adams, do you realize this year the New York Jets have only won 3 games, and 2 of them are on freaking Thursday? Their only win on a Sunday was against the Tennessee Titans in Week 2 when Will Levis went full Levis.
Yeah.
That team's a disaster. The Bears, you could say, you know what? Caleb hasn't been very good, but we're gonna get a new coaching staff in here. Hopefully, there's
Uh,
momentum. We can fix
just
this.
stop. Just stop right there. Just stop right there. Because how many times have we heard that same sentiment with the Chicago Bears? We heard it with when they drafted Mitchell Trubisky. We heard it when they drafted Justin Fields. Now we're hearing it with Caleb
By
Williams.
the way, I defended Matt Nagy for years in Chicago. I never understood why he got fired. Do you realize Matt Nagy took Mitch Trubisky to the playoffs twice? And that was with Matthew Stafford and a good Aaron Rodgers in his own division and
Yes.
Kirk Cousins.
And the only reason they lost one of those playoff games was because of a double doink.
Indeed. And so now Chicago says, you know what? We got, by the way, their offense. Explain this to me, Josh. You upgrade running back. DeAndre Swift, one of the, I would say, a top 15 back in the sport. Yeah, he's an upgrade over Khalil Herbert, who they just shipped off to Cincinnati at the trade deadline. Roma Dunze, he was an upgrade, though, coming out of Notre Dame. He was a top 10 pick in the
Washington.
draft, or Washington, excuse me, thank you. He was a top 10 pick in the NFL for a reason. Keenan Allen is maybe the best slot receiver in the NFL. What he did over his career with Philip Rivers and Justin Herbert. And this offense has gotten worse,
Yeah,
since last year.
yeah. Think about this. The I, if I remember hearing the stat correctly, the Bears have not scored a touchdown since
It
late in
was it was since the Hail Mary game.
yeah.
Well, by the way, that game just okay. So this is a sign of good coaching and bad coaching. Good coaching after the Hail Mary. Day after the game, first of all, Stevenson, he is cut from the football team. That is not allowed. He's not suspended. He is cut from the football team. You say, boys, this is not tolerated. We're going to go in here. We're going to work hard. We're going to put this behind us. We're going to figure this shit out. We're going to get Caleb Williams more under center. We're going to get the RPO going in the shotgun. We're going to get him short, easy completions. We are going to fix this. You know what the Bears did? They put up 3 points against New England. 3! A field goal. Caleb Williams got sacked 9. Count them, I have 9 fingers. Barely, they fit on all my hands. 9 times. The right tackle is standing there. Cut that guy. Whoever, number 75 on Chicago, caught him. I almost just dropped an F-bomb for the first time ever on this show.
Are you sure you're an Eagles fan?
I'm watching this Bears team going, my freaking God, somebody help Caleb Williams. This is the worst coaching I've ever seen in the history of freaking football. The Chicago Bears were supposed to finally be, I'm not going to use the term I was going to use because, a certain candidate used that in his political cycle this year. But yeah, they were supposed to be really good. Guess what? They stink.
Yeah, I think we both had them making the playoffs. Guess what? That's not happening. Um, we both. Everybody was saying, "Oh, look at the NFC North. It's the best division in football. Every team looks great. They could get all 4 teams to the playoffs." No, no, just no. The Vikings might even miss the playoffs at this rate, but
I there's them, and then oh my freaking God, where do I start
with the
with the
new.
New York Football Jets? Aaron Rodgers may have been, I thought going into the year, the biggest quarterback upgrade by any team the whole offseason, going from Zach Wilson, Aaron freaking Rodgers. And Aaron is old. He is slow. Clearly, by the way, Mike Williams, he couldn't catch a ball to save his life with the Jets, and he catches the game-winning touchdown pass from Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the Jets, by the way, we both like the Cardinals coming into the year. I didn't expect them to do that. Not 31-6. They scored on their first 5 possessions of the football game. For a Jets defense, this defense is going to lead us. We're a top 5 defense. How are you since Robert Saleh got fired? How about the worst defense in the National Football League because Sauce Gardner looks like he was covered in spaghetti sauce and can't run or cover against anybody. And this entire team is completely trash. They're done. They put a fork in them. I don't want to hear no more about Aaron Rodgers going to the Pat McAfee show. You know, I started 3-7 before. We may no. That you're done. Your conspiracy theories aren't funny anymore. I don't want you cracking jokes. I don't want Devontae Adams looking over his shoulder. I'm done. This Jets team is a disaster, a complete and utter disaster. It's an embarrassment that I picked this team to win the AFC East because they're an embarrassment. They're worse than the Patriots.
Yeah, think about this. Saleh got fired after that Monday night game against Buffalo. Since then, they've given up 37 to the Steelers, 25 to the Patriots, and now 31 to the Arizona Cardinals. What? Like, and they thought, oh, if we get all of Aaron's friends back together, that'll save us and we'll become the New York Packers. No! That has not worked for you at all. The Jets are cooked. They are dead as a doorknob. Um,
Hey, you know what? At least they're better than the Giants, I guess. By the way, did you know they have the same amount of wins right now as the Carolina bleeping Panthers? I'm serious. As of today, right now, the next year of football, who would you take moving forward? Aaron Rodgers or Bryce Young? I'm taking Bryce Young.
This is pathetic. It's so bad. The Colts Jets game this week got flexed out of
Oh my
Sunday.
God, I don't even. Oh my. By the way, Joe Flacco has not been good for the Colts at all. I don't care what people say about him and how he renaissance Cleveland last year. He has not been good for Indy at all. He's an upgrade over Anthony Richardson because Anthony Richardson can't complete a pass from me to my computer screen 2 feet in front of me.
I don't know what is going on with the Indianapolis Colts, but to answer the question on the screen, who's in a worse position right now? I gotta say the Bears, honestly, because this is a never-ending cycle with them.
Well, I would say the Jets because at least the Bears have a quarterback and a rookie contract. They can try to build it out for the next couple of years. Jets have no plan at quarterback. None. Zilch. Zero.
Yeah, I hear you on that. But my thing with the Bears is like they fired their offensive coordinator. Great. What does that solve?
Well, by the way, Luke Getsy got fired, so clearly it was the right decision to get rid of him because he's also fired in Vegas. So, for the record, I do like the Bears GM. A lot of people want to fire Ryan Poles. I think Poles has actually done a good job. I think it's a good roster. I think they need a freaking coach.
So, the Bears' next game
is at home against Green Bay, which is a very interesting game because Green Bay is coming off their bye, and it's any given Sunday in the National Football League. I'm not picking the Bears by any means, but I'm telling you, it's any given Sunday.
Green Bay is a 6.5-point favorite. Meanwhile, the Jets, like we talked about, they're facing the Colts this weekend. That's going to be a laughable game. Thank God it got flexed out of Sunday Night Football. The Jets are currently a 4-point favorite.
Okay, so while I calm down for my emotional tirade on those two dumpster fires, why don't you give us your other takeaways from week 10?
So I want to start with that San Francisco Tampa Bay game because they we both had this as in our top five last week, and it certainly lived up to it. San Francisco, what are you doing with your field goal kickers? Last year, Jake Moody misses a potential game-winning kick against Cleveland, and they lose against the Browns. And then they go into Tampa. He misses three field goals and somehow makes the game-winning one. I don't get it. But in this case, I want to give more credit to Tampa Bay because I think everybody kind of wrote them off after they lost Mike Evans and they lost Chris Godwin. There's Baker Mayfield is still playing very well. They were right there in position to win that game last week against Kansas City, as we talked about. They were right there again against another one of the teams we think is going to be in the mix down the stretch in San Francisco. Tampa Bay's not out of it by any stretch.
Okay, so this is where I sort of disagree with you. I don't think they're out of the NFC wild card picture yet. I do think they're out of the division hunt because they are essentially 3 games back of Atlanta. They got swept by Atlanta. They're 2 games back, so they're essentially 3 games back. I don't think they're going to be able to make up 3 games. And Tampa's lost 4 in a row. Now they have been very close games. They lost to Baltimore on that Monday night. They then they lose to San Francisco. Obviously, there's a loss in there. They lose to Kansas City on a Monday night. And so for Tampa, um, something just came up here.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too.
Okay. Okay. So it looks like I'm not sure. Sorry for everybody that's listening on YouTube. It looks like that we are potentially not live on the Championship Rings YouTube channel. It says it's a YouTube issue. I'm not gonna worry about that right now. But to me, Tampa is a wild card team if they're gonna get in. But I think San Francisco has problems. Debo Samuel trying to fight with Jake Moody was just wrong. Good
No,
for Jake
it wasn't with Jake Moody. It was with the long
with the long
snapper.
snapper, and good for him, by the way, for standing up for himself, and fighting back against Debo. San Francisco has not been the same all year long to me. Purdy is going to have to play perfect. Their defense is not as good as it has been moving forward, and they're probably going to still win the division, in my opinion, because I don't know. Arizona could win it. I think the Rams after last night, I'm going to write them off. That was a horrific performance by the Dolphins. And they play Seattle this week, and I'm sorry. I know you're a Seahawks guy, Josh. I don't buy Seattle. Their defense is just not that good to me, and they haven't really beat good teams. So I think it's a two-horse race in the NFC West. San Francisco obviously has the more talented team, but they're just not as good as they have been in years past.
Yeah. So what are some of your other big takeaways? Because there are a
Um,
couple interesting games that we didn't get to.
so Sam Darnold is back in a pumpkin watch. I think Minnesota is going to still win enough games to be a wild card team. I don't think they're going to catch Detroit in that division. And my takeaway is if they play San Francisco, I know they've had the Niners um, number in the past, but if they have to go to San Francisco in the playoffs, which they will likely have to do, it's a 5-4 matchup, they will more than likely lose that game. Um, Atlanta, that was a New Orleans new interim head coach. Usually the first week you get an interim head coach bump. The typical Falcons, you don't know when to trust them. And then obviously Kansas City. Now I don't want to hear any talk about the blocked field goal was luck. That was Kansas City making a play on the blocked field goal and bull rushing Denver's offensive line and actually making the play. They forced that block. It wasn't just a missed kick. So, Kansas City, they are who they are, right? They don't always play great. They have a good defense. Their offense isn't sharp, and they find a way to win games. And now they have a massive game that we'll get to in a few minutes against Buffalo.
Yes, the bullshit is real with the Kansas City Chiefs, whether you like it or not. But how about your Philadelphia Eagles?
You
Fi-
know, I wasn't
finally,
even I
fi-
wasn't even gonna bring it up.
let's do it. Finally, I want to give full credit to your Eagles in this game because I feel like there was so much talk. There's been a ton of talk about Nick Sirianni and whether he should be on the hot seat or not. Like, that's been the talk all season long in Philadelphia, I feel like. And it felt like because Dallas is kind of down in the dumps and Dak is out and I don't even know what's going on with Micah Parsons and that whole thing with Mike McCarthy and all that. It felt like this was a game Philadelphia could just somehow, for lack of a better term, shit the bed and lose.
Well, they tried to in the first half. Jalen Hurts, the interception, I'll give full credit to Trayvon Diggs. I thought that was a great play, the pick on Goddard. Obviously, the fumble was bad on Hurts. In the first half, he stayed in the pocket way too long on some of those throws. But the story to me for the Eagles is not even my offense, it's my defense. Because those two rookies, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean in the slot, my favorite white corner in the history of white corners, which there are two of them. And yes, I'm going to go there. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell have turned my defense into arguably the past month a top five defense in the NFL. And Jalen Carter is starting to get more pressure up front. Josh Sweat is starting to get more pressure up front. Bryce Huff even got one of the strip sacks that Cooper Rush lost. And that game went from a 14-6 sort of nail biter to a complete domination to the point where the entire fourth quarter, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo were literally previewing the Bills Chiefs game.
Yeah. There was. Did you see the one guy holding up a poster saying "Romo, go in," and they cut to him and he's pretending to warm up and stuff.
By the way, I think Tony Romo on Sunday would have done a better job than Trey Lance.
Yes.
I think Tony Romo off his chair in the booth would have been a better option for the Cowboys than Cooper, Robert Rush, and Trey Lance.
By the way, Jerry Jones, why'd you build your stadium in the way you did? Like,
He says it's a home field advantage.
did you, Jerry? Did you kind of forget about that big yellow ball made of gas in the sky? I mean, I'm pointing out the window, but it's nighttime here in Cleveland. But you get my point.
Know why? I'm not even joking here. I'm actually very nervous because I think Dallas is going to tank. And I do think that there is a combination in college football out there
Shador,
in Boulder, Colorado that
Shador
could be.
Sanders and Deion
It,
Sanders.
it
Yeah.
makes me nervous. Yeah, I want them to win some games here and keep sleepy and Dak. I don't want a full tank here.
Okay. I want to get to this game, though. Pittsburgh, Washington. This was a heck of a game. And I, you could debate whether that was a first down or not. It was so close. I don't know. But
It was a bad spot by the officials. I thought the officials gave him a yard back. I thought they should have at least measured.
the yellow line isn't like the official spot.
No, but they moved him like a full yard back. You couldn't even see the chain.
Okay. But Russell Wilson has had a full renaissance since becoming the star for Pittsburgh. And how about Mike Williams? He
That's what I just said. Mike Williams cannot catch a ball with the New York Jets.
And he goes, "Oh, there's a touchdown. I'll get it." And it ends up being the game winner.
I still think, and again, Washington is a nice story. There is this factor out there that they have only beaten bottom feeders, which is something. And we're gonna get to the Commanders Thursday night here against Philly. It's a massive game, obviously, but I told you this is what I predicted the Steelers to be somewhere between 6-3, 7-2, as we get down to the divisional part of the schedule, which is where, to me, I need to see Pittsburgh beat Baltimore to show me they're still a legit team. Because I still don't think they are legit. Even at 7-2, I don't.
Interesting. So you would not put them in the Super Bowl
No, that
contention.
not at all. But I don't think Russ has played great. I think he's made enough throws. He completed 50% of his passes on Sunday. He didn't play great. He made two great throws.
Jalen Warren has like re-energized that running game for Pittsburgh. They're getting back to what Steeler football is. Run the hell out of the football and play solid defense and make the plays when it's crunch time.